So in the prior video, I showed you 10 items that you could sell on eBay for $10 and still make a decent profit, even if you include free shipping. And I really appreciate a lot of you leaving a lot of positive comments down below and telling me how useful that you felt a video like that was, showing you items at the lower end of the price spectrum. And it got me to thinking that the majority of items that sell on eBay really do fall between that $10 to $20 price range. And so I figured, why not follow up the prior video with one in which I show you 10 items that you could sell on eBay and still make a decent profit for $20. And so we'll just double the price from the prior video. Now, if you didn't see that prior video, I will link to it at the very end of this one, so just be very easy to find. But it's right up there at the main page, and you could see it right down below, right over here. 10 profitable $10 items to sell on eBay. So without further ado, let's go into the first set of items, and that would be salt and pepper shakers. And this one here that you see is 2 alligators, and I'm going to show you a bunch of different animals. Animals are great to sell in a salt and pepper shaker form because there's a lot of people that really love certain types of animals. There's people who love alligators, there's people who love elephants, there's obviously people who love dogs and cats. I mean, you name it, there's people that collect pretty much everything. And I happen to love alligators as well. I have a lot of alligator stuff around. They're really cool animals. And as you can see here, these are anthropomorphic animals. I used that term last night. So they have human-like qualities. That also helps to sell them. They also are vintage ones. All the ones that you're going to see here are vintage. I purchased all the salt and pepper shakers that I'm going to show you here off of a private ad that I set up on Craigslist. I got 100 of these salt and pepper shakers for $90. So I have 90 cents invested into them, and my business plan with them was to turn that $90 investment into a minimum of $2,000 of gross income. And the way to do that is to make sure that you sell each of the salt and pepper shakers for $20 a piece at a minimum. So many of them have sold for higher than that, but I won't go lower than $19.99 on the shakers. So once it gets to $19.99, I will turn the best offer function off and just simply wait for the right person to come along. The great thing about vintage shakers, and I'm going to show you different poses of the shakers as I go through and talk about this some more. But the great thing about vintage shakers is that when you get them, usually the one that you have at that time is going to be either the only one that's on eBay like it, or maybe you'll have another person competing with you. Now, that's not the case with the modern shakers, but for the older ones, that is usually the case. So for pretty much all the ones I'm going to show you here, I was either the only one that had them. I was with these alligators, and there might have been only one where there was someone else that had anything even like it. So in terms of an identical match. So one of the other things I want to point out here is you could see here is just a little side tip that I have these on a display case. It's a plastic display case, the type of thing that you can find in a department store or a collectible store. That's actually how I obtain them. A lot of times they might have some cracks in them and stuff, and they'll just give them away, like cracks on the side. But for the main part that you might use for your pictures, it's not going to matter that it has any cracks on the side of it. And sometimes they're just giving them away. They're promotional stands that they've gotten, and they don't need them anymore. So just talk to the manager, ask, because they're great to give a little bit of elevation, a little bit of lift when you're taking the photographs of it. It's much better than if you have them flat down on the table. You cannot get the same perspective with them, and that perspective does help make the sale faster. So it's just something I wanted to point out to you as a side tip. So some other animals here that sell well for that $20 price range would be great white sharks. There's a lot of people who love sharks. I love sharks. Jesse Shops I know loves sharks. I take different pictures, different angles, just to make sure people get to see every single possible side that could potentially be of interest to them and make them want to purchase the item. You obviously want to show the bottoms especially if it's something from the 80s. If it has that vintage marking on it, make sure you're highlighting that. Make sure you're showing for salt and pepper shakers that the stoppers are there, and if they're not there, make sure that you disclose that. But with them being on there, with them not being on there, I've still been able to sell them for that $20 price range. These are really cool as well. Another anthropomorphic feature here with them smiling like that. I mean, they really have that human-like smile right there. So really neat. I love these whales, getting that back view. You can see how that enhances it. Some people might just take one photo like this and that's it, but I think you're selling the buyer short if you do that. Make sure you at least put 2 photos up front and the back, and that does help to increase the chances that your item is going to be shown, because when you have 2 photos, eBay knows that it is going over to another server to get that additional photo, and that enhances the way your listing is going to appear in search. So that's something that's important to keep in mind. And so again, just different angles. Now, it's not just animals. If you're wondering, you could also sell people that look interesting. So here we have some hillbillies, and this one here, interestingly, as talking of waiting for the right buyer to come along, the person who purchased this actually has a store that has the word hillbilly in it, and so that person wanted these to kind of put on the shelf as decoration. It made sense for that person. Someone else coming by who doesn't have a store like that, may not be interested in something like this. But again, these are old vintage. This is a nice old souvenir. Really cool. If you could find little ways to make them interact in some way, like you could see here what I did just to display them, is I have this guy kind of leaning on the other one, so the 2 hats are touching. So I like to do things like that to make them interact. Like, you could even see here, what I did with the with the alligator salt and pepper shakers is I have them kind of, right there at that one, like they're kind of looking at each other and stuff. So do things like that, to make them interact. It makes it fun. I have some ghost ones up right now where I have them chasing each other and hugging each other and stuff like that. Those kind of things, they sound small, but they are really good marketing techniques that you could use to help increase the chance of the sale, because you want someone coming and seeing that and saying, oh, wow, that looks so cool. I'd love to have them display like that too, and I could, make them interact in different ways. And so it does help. Over here, this one here, you see it laying down, but these are some cat salt and pepper shakers. Sorry, I have a little cold here tonight. So these are cool. These are Siamese cats, and you could see here that they are on top here. I marked them as that they are from Japan. A lot of them have Japan markings on the bottom. Anytime you find any salt and pepper shakers that are vintage and they're from Japan, I could almost guarantee you that they're going to sell for at least $20. You may have to wait a little bit for someone to come along and and do that, but someone eventually will come along and make the purchase. Now, if you see something from Japan that says Lefton on it, that's a whole nother ball game. Those could go for a lot of money. I mean, we're even talking hundreds of dollars for some of those salt and pepper shakers. So that's a keyword that you definitely want to look out for Japanese salt and pepper shakers. Now, they don't all have to be things that are alive. They could be just decorative things related to things people have a close bond to. Like a lot of people have a strong bond with the state that they're from, particularly like Indiana, for example. A lot of people have that Hoosier pride, and, they love, the Indianapolis 500 and all that stuff. And so any of these key words that are associated with the salt and pepper shakers that are on the label, I try to incorporate them if I can, if I have room, into the title there. But then if I can't fit all that in there, I'll put them over here. And don't worry about things being in capital letters. It's not going to affect how things look in search. I know some people think that, but it doesn't. I have no problem at all with getting visibility for my listing. So, and you could go check that out for yourself by just typing them into Google, and you'll see they come up absolutely no problem. So be on the lookout for salt and pepper shakers. That's the largest amount of items I'm going to show you for $20. I just want to reinforce the point for you with these that they sell. Try to source them for $1 or less. There's a lot of people out there that are trying to sell salt and pepper shakers for crazy dollar amounts. So don't fall for that. Make sure you're getting them for a decent price that you could flip. So, okay, we're going to move on to, oh, this one. The reason why I have this one on, by the way, this is another salt and pepper shaker. I just wanted to make the point that sometimes if you see that there's damage to them, they still could sell. So look at the one on the left and compare it to the one on the right. The one on the left has the handle on it. The one on the right does not. And also, if I show you another angle, you could see it better. But the one on the left here, the reason why the handle's missing is because the ear that you could see there to the left one, that one, the ear is there with the hole, but the one on the right, it doesn't have the top of the ear. It broke off, and that's why the handle's gone. But still, there's enough people out there that are into elephants and that are into vintage salt and pepper shakers that are elephants, and these were made from Japan. You can see on the bottom here, I have the Japan label right there. The sticker is on the bottom of one of those. It fell off the other, but at least it's on one of them, so that does that does a good job with Japan verification on there, which is always good to have. You know, someone might buy these either because they think they might be able to restore them. That could be one reason. Two, they may just not care. They might just think, hey, you know what? These things look cool enough like this. I'm not even going to focus on that it's missing part of the ear or the handle. I just like how they look overall. Or another reason could be that somebody has this set and one of them broke, because these things are ceramic. After all, they break, and they're looking for a replacement. So to spend $20 to get a replacement piece for a hard to find item, they'll easily fork that over. So keep that in mind. Don't just throw these things in the garbage. Another thing I want to tell you about the salt and pepper shakers before we move on to the next set is that these you will generally always be able to sell them and ship them first class mail. I have yet to ship any that have weighed more than 16 ounces. These came close. These went right up to around 15 ounces because they're kind of wide and they're thick and ceramic, but most of them will be less than that. They'll be double digits in terms of ounces, but so you're going to invest around $4 to $5 to ship them. Your cost of goods, at least in my instance here, was 90 cents. So again, you're talking about a $5 to $6 investment typically overall when it's all said and done. You got your final value fees and stuff, but you're still making a double-digit profit on it, and much more than what you invested into it. So, if you're buying a big lot of them, that's how you wind up making money with these over time. Is it's a nice volume set of sales, and that will turn a high profit margin for you when it's all said and done. So I'm going to move into the second set of items now, and this has to do with vintage coloring books. You have seen me source this at the flea market. You've seen me source it at estate sales if you've been watching my haul videos for a while. And I used to find this particular book when I started sourcing, way back in 2000 when I was at the swap shop in Florida. I would find this particular one a lot. So you will see this one out there. Now it's actually it is a coloring book. You could paint on it as well if you want to. There's posters inside of there. And if you look, this is an example of the posters, and kind of reminds me, there's Mrs. Pac-Man. I'm going to have to admit here that when I was first time admitting this, but when I was younger, I had a crush on Mrs. Pac-Man right there. So, or Ms. Pac-Man. I think it was the boots that did me, and it might also be the bow tie and those big eyes with the with the fluttering eyelashes there, and I love it. So nowadays I just joke that she's Mrs. Primetime and that this is me, and so we get a kick out of it when I see it. Although in this one here, you could see here's Mrs. Pac-Man strutting her stuff, and that probably would be me in the the taxi cab waving at her and saying hi. So I better move on to the next one, or I'm going to start getting myself in trouble here. So let me go to the last panel here, because one of the things that I want to show you on this one is that this one does have some coloring inside of it. So, it's nice coloring. It's not like totally destroyed, which that really helps out. They didn't color outside the line. So, someone would still purchase this because they say, you know what, they are yellow pellets, and, I probably would color it that anyway. So if it's not super messy, that definitely helps increase the chance that someone will still purchase it. But I've sold this book before with multiple pages colored in it. So if it doesn't have the coloring in it, it will sell for more than 20 bucks. So I've sold them before for over $40, but that's with, there being no coloring whatsoever. So, but collectors love this anyway, because even if there is coloring in it, you have to remember that a lot of collectors, they just like to display stuff. They're not even going to really look at the inside. So if you have a nice, cover like this, if you're a big Pac-Man fan, you want to display this in your room in a trophy case or something like this, you'll still buy it. So again, one of the points in this, and what I want to try to make over and over again, is when you have items that have some damage to it, think of ways that someone still may be willing to purchase. What's a logical justification that someone might still get it? So it has to still have some redeeming qualities to it, obviously, but as long as it does, you might want to take a chance and put it up and see what you could do with it. Now, keep in mind with coloring books that you're not supposed to send them out media mail, but they will generally go out first class because they are pretty light. With other types of coloring books, this is my only example I'm going to show you just for the sake of time, but for other coloring books, you're looking for ones typically from the 80s or earlier that have iconic characters on it. So it could be Looney Tune ones, it could be Star Wars, Masters of the Universe, that type of things. Things that have toy lines are usually very popular. Anything cartoony, your regular general activity book, will be more challenging to get the $20 out of, depending how old it is and what kind of condition it's in. Christmas time, you may do well with some Santa coloring books and Christmas themed coloring books and stuff like that. But be on the lookout for older coloring books. A lot of people don't realize that you could get 20 bucks or more out of them, and you could get them for really cheap at flea markets and garage sales and places like that. So that is number 2. So let's move to number 3, and that would be posters. This one comes out of the haul video that I did called it's the giant poster haul at the barn in the middle of nowhere. That was a fun video. Go check that one out. This is my favorite Batman of all time. There he is, Adam West himself with Burt Ward. If you haven't checked out the 60s Batman series, if you're younger, definitely please go check it out. It's a lot of fun. They even show him sometimes on the weekend as well in the morning. So check your local listings or get them on DVD. It's definitely worth a lot of fun. But this one sold for 20 bucks. These are light and easy to ship. I've done many videos related to posters and how to take photographs of them, how to ship them, how to find poster mailing tubes for either free or very little investment per tube. So if you didn't see that and you're interested, go back and check that out. I've got a lot of feedback from people who found those valuable. Now, many of those posters I've sold for over $20. I showed you in the last What Sold video where I showed the most expensive items. In fact, the most expensive item that month was an Avengers poster, a 30th anniversary commemorative that sold for $250. So posters run all over the gamut. But if you're passing up posters, I'm telling you, you are missing out. You've got to start checking out into posters. When you go to estate sales, look on the walls and look for posters. If they're peeled up on there and stuck on there with some tape or some sticky putty on the back, just take it off and take it down and take some rubber bands with you, roll it up, and you could do very well with the vintage posters. So sorry, this cold is acting up, and I'm trying to plug through the video for you here, but I think we're going to make it. So this one here, Carl Bach may remember this one, considering that he purchased it. So I'm hoping that he does. This is a small, I'm going to show you how small it is actually. I've got a little tape measure so you can see here. It's only about 5 inches. I got this at an estate sale. If you remember that haul video, this was actually just sitting there on a tool shelf towards the end of the sale, and just left there. And the thing that's cool about it, as I zoom into it right here, is that this comes from Ohio. Shout out to Don, the auction professor, who is from Ohio and knows of this company, because I talked to Don about it. This is a promotional piece. A really cool item. It says, some, really cool, has some cool font on it. It says the Galleon Metallic Vault. It just sounds cool. And that's what just appealed to me about it. And I think that's what appealed to Carl about it. Carl actually bought it. He made an offer to me when I was on live with Don one night. And bought it for 20 bucks. So this only weighs a couple ounces. Carl could tell you that in the comments and confirm. It's a really cool display piece. I mean, people aren't really buying this to use per se. They're buying it to display, to add to a collection of other small metal tools. So small metal tools, especially if they have promotional labels on them like this, promotional engravings, definitely check them out because I got them for free. If you remember that video, I just tossed it into the box, and at the end I didn't even get charged for it. It's just considered one of the throw-in items, and so there you go. There's just 20 bucks just sitting there, and everyone else just walking by it all day. So be on the lookout for those types of things. Okay, moving on to the next one. I talked about comic books in the prior video, and I'm going to talk about comic books again because, yes, there's comics that sell for $10. There's ones that sell for thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, but there's also plenty of them that will sell for 20 bucks that you can wind up getting for $1 or 15 cents or 25 cents. This is a good example here. Thing I want you to pay attention to with this one is it's not only a comic book, but it also has stickers associated with it. And if it's anything from the 80s that has stickers, people growing up in the 80s like myself, they love stickers. And if you find the original stickers on something that's supposed to go inside the book, like you could see here, there's these 3 circular stickers right here. We got Slimer, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and the Ghost icon. Well, those are supposed to fit right here. And a lot of times with these older books, the stickers are already inside of them, or they're missing, peeled off, that sort of thing. So if you could ever find these older books with the original stickers, still in place, that's a great collectible item. Again, someone may just want to display it and just to show that they have something like that. This is a hard to find item. The bumper Marvel comic in and of itself, that's not necessarily what really makes this really worth much. In fact, most of the bumper comics don't even sell at all. But this one does because it has Slimer and the Ghostbusters. So there's a lot of things about this that make it something you should look for. The stickers, the Ghostbusters components to it. It doesn't actually even on the front of it, you could see there, like if you just quickly look at it, it doesn't even say Ghostbusters on the cover. So, and it doesn't have the Ghostbuster characters on there in terms of the human characters. So you've got to be familiar with your cartoon icons as well. I'll show you one other comic book here, which is a Treasury Edition. This is an oversized comic. I'll give you a sense here of how big. Here's the back of it right here, but to really get to see right there, you could see inside. This is a pretty big comic, so it's oversized. You still usually could get them to ship out first class. They have these really big, nice panels inside that I like to display. This one has Wonder Woman on it. I have never had a Treasury comic book that has not sold. That's never happened. They are very popular. They won't always sell for crazy amounts of money. I mean, there are some that I have sold, like Superman fighting Spider-Man is an iconic Treasury cover, and that one I've sold for close to $100 before. But many of these will sell in that $20 price range. So this is a great one right here. So look for those oversized Treasury ones. They were made by DC Comics, which is this one here, the famous first editions or the limited collector's edition, but also look for Marvel Treasuries that were made as well. So we're going to move on to the next one, which would just be regular types of books. Books will sell for 10 bucks, books will sell for 20 bucks, and books will sell for much more than that. But this one, thing I want to tell you about this one, these are fantasy types of books, and you saw me unbox a lot of these when I went through the storage unit locker that I wound up getting all those contents of. This one is called Warhammer. It's definitely a term you should be aware of and be on the lookout for. Pretty much anything vintage Warhammer is going to sell, even if it's damaged. With this one here, there's damage to, I could show you the side of it is where most of the damage is. You could see that spine there right towards the end. There's a lot of peeling. There's some corner blunting. There's part of the that outer layer of cardboard is missing. So but they'll still sell, and the reason why is because you have to know the types of people who are buying the books that that you're selling. So the people who are buying these fantasy books, what they really care about, they don't care about the cover that much. They really care about what's inside. And that's all this detail and all these pictures of the monsters. So if you could show some pictures to, let the buyer know, hey, look, the inside of the book is fine. Don't worry about the outside so much. This is what you're going to use. People go along and they'll fork out 20 bucks for this, no problem. If this was in, great condition, this book would have sold for $40-50, but it's not. So, but I didn't pay, basically almost anything for it. I had very little into it, just pennies. So, it's $20. This type of thing will ship out medium mail. It's going to be about over a pound. So you're talking about $3 and some change. Right now, the lowest cost medium mail item for a pound or less is going to be $2.75. So that's why books are ideal for something in this price range. You really want to try as much as possible to try to stay away from priority, but you could still even make some priority items work, as I'll show you a little bit later, at the $20 price range. So this one here, I'm actually going to X out of this because I actually did technically take a best offer on this one for $15 today. So some things I will still keep. As, by the way, I should just mention this, it's not like I shut everything off at $19.99 and turn off the best offers. I did with the salt and pepper shakers because that was my business model. For these, I didn't have a set number that I wanted to get out of these, so I was willing to go a little bit lower, and I took a best offer of 15 this morning on them, as well as 3 other ones that were similar to this, and a total for all 4 prints that went to one buyer was a total of $70. So saved on shipping. That's just a reminder, little extra bonus tip for you here to make sure you have like items that are listed, because people will come in and they'll combine those lots together and make a purchase that will save you some money if you could combine the shipping for them. So let me actually move over to that's another one there. That's actually another one that's sold today. But I'll move over to another type of item here that is this one here. This is a costume. And you could see there is the outer part of the costume. Sorry, this cold is just killing me tonight. This costume, now you got to be careful with costumes, because with costumes, there are some costumes that are pretty heavy and they have a lot of components into them. There's a lot of thick, heavy masks, heavy accessories and things like that. But what makes this one appealing for a $19.99 price range is that it's basically just a bunch of thin cloth. That's really what it is. I mean, you've got a little vest here with some fake blood on it, and a black shawl and pants and stuff like that. But it's all very lightweight. The bag is lightweight. You could put a little bubble wrap over it if you want, put it in a poly mailer, and it'll probably go over a pound still. But it's not going to cost you a ton to ship it. It's going to still be on the light end of the scale. So, it could be like around $7 or so. But if you only have a couple bucks into it, you're just trying to, get rid of it, $20, you're still going to make a decent return on it, for a nice quick flip right around Halloween time. So keep those lighter costumes in mind for a $20 flip item. Again, you got to be careful what type of costume it is, but some of them you could make it work. And also remember, Halloween items do sell year round. It's not just that they only sell on Halloween, because people have costume parties and stuff and cosplay contests all the time. So I'll just keep that in mind. Next one here. This is a Mrs. Primetime item, actually. That's my wife, for those of you who don't know or are new to the channel. But this is a vintage photo album. So vintage photo albums, there's actually a market for those, believe it or not. And so I just took different pictures of it. I zoomed in on all the different qualities. There were some, sheets included in here as well. And so I just, this is obviously a very plain picture. There's nothing super exciting about it. But, there's a lot of people have photos and they want to, they'll put them away somewhere and they need photo albums. So if you could give someone a nice discount on an album like this, compared to something they would get in the store, you find albums a lot when you're out there. So, take a look at them. And if it's a decent album, doesn't have too much damage to it or anything like that, especially if it comes with an original box, pick it up. And this could be something that can, again, be a nice quick flip for $20. So photo albums right there. Now we'll do, I think this is our 9th item right here. These are what I'm going to emphasize the weight. These will be lightweight coats. And the key I'm going to tell you about these is you've got to just have some experience with these. These are ones that you would like to be able to fit in a flat rate padded priority envelope. If you go to my channel, like go back to the main page and go to click videos and sort from highest to lowest, you will see that my highest viewed video is like over 50,000 views for a video that I did all about the flat rate priority envelope. And so what a lot of people don't realize is they think that the only items that could go in here are flat. But you could put items in here that are thick. The good thing about these is that they're stretchy and elastic. So you could pull this right over the front of it and stretch it, and you could still seal it shut right at the tab. And they'll still take them. I have never had a problem. Someone did write me recently that they had an issue, but I have never had a problem. I just actually fit, believe it or not, that coat right into here, no problem whatsoever. And I've never had a complaint from a buyer saying that they're upset about it. I mean, think about it. It's a coat. It's going to get wrinkled no matter how you ship it, basically. There's no need to put this into some kind of giant box or anything like that. You're just adding a whole bunch of weight. This is going to cost you $7 and some change. I had a couple bucks invested in that coat. They got it for $3 at an estate sale. So, you know, all said and done with this is something that I'm going to wind up making like about $8 on or something like that, you know. But it's not bad for what, you know, Courtney refers to as these, Courtney Hayes from Bolo Buddies. Go check out her channel, by the way, and as a little plug for her, as bread and butter types of items. So lightweight coats, not heavy ones that you're not going to be able to fit into something like this. And that brings us to our last item, which I talked to you about these last night, which were Funko Pops. I showed you some individual Funko Pops that sell for $9.99, but then there's also ones that you can make little combos with. And what I do with these, okay, just so you know my strategy, there are some Funko Pops that will, there's no way you could even sell them for $9.99, okay? They're so common that people won't even invest $10 on them with free shipping. That doesn't mean there's not some other people out there that are selling it for like $8 and, you know, with free shipping, but I'm not going to do that. I told you my business model is $9.99 is the lowest with free shipping that I will do. That's explained in more detail in the prior video. But with this one, I'll take those Funko Pops that won't sell for that $9.99 or more range, and I'll combine them with something that will sell for that range, and then I'll put them together for $19.99, and everything will go under, you know, in one box. I've done a video, sorry for tapping the microphone right there. I've done a video on showing you how you want to face the plastic together of the Funko Pops and how to ship when you have two Funko Pops together. There's a special technique that you could use to make sure that they don't get damaged or significantly decrease the chance that they'll get damaged. So that's a strategy that you could use with Funko Pops and sell them for $20. So with that being said, that is our 10th type of item. There's many more examples, but again, those are just some that came to mind that I wanted to show you. And hopefully you found this video as helpful as the last one. If so, make sure that you give the video a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. The quest is still on to 10,000. I still haven't given up. You can see here we improved 40 subscribers since yesterday's video. So we technically could still maybe pull it out. So we're at December 7th. We still have some time left. So very important. Please help me try to get to that 10,000 subscriber mark. If you have any friends and family that you think would like the channel or fellow resellers, please make sure to pass it on to them and ask them to subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And look at this as another milestone. For the first time, the channel has hit 500,000 views. Wow. That is awesome. Thanks to all of you who have supported the channel to make that possible. I am proud to hit that milestone. That's really something. So thank you all very much. As a reminder, come to my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link to that is down below in the description section, as well as the link to my Instagram account. That's @prime_time_treasure. Now I've got to get some rest and hopefully recover by the next video. So I'll see you at the next one, everyone. Hopefully. Take care.